A veteran EMPD officer says her life changed the moment she realized the people following her weren't criminals, weren't suspects, and weren't strangers, but individuals she believed were connected to powerful political circles. In her words, they were watching me, and I knew it wasn't random. That single realization, she says, shattered the comfort she once had in her uniform. She claims the first signs were subtle. An unfamiliar car parked too long near her station. A face she saw twice in different places. A vehicle appearing behind her on a route she rarely used. For most people, it might mean nothing, but for an officer trained to detect patterns, the alarms rang instantly. She tried to ignore it until she couldn't. She says the moment that froze her heart was when someone whispered to her that the people trailing her weren't acting alone. A name was dropped. A name she never expected to hear tied to her life. Julius Malema. She stood there, confused, unsure, shocked, trying to make sense of why a political giant's name would even surface in her world. She didn't know whether to dismiss it or fear it. According to her, the trouble began after she exposed what she believed were irregular political influences affecting EMPD operations. She didn't think anything dramatic would happen. She says she simply filed what she believed was an honest report, but she claims that report triggered a chain reaction that she never saw coming. Soon after, the whispers began. The glances, the vehicles, the pattern. She remembers the faces. She remembers the feeling. People parked outside establishments she entered. Individuals who appeared to be waiting, but behaved too deliberately for her to believe it was coincidence. She claims she saw them at the petrol station. She saw them when she left work. She saw them near her parents' home. The pressure grew daily. She says it felt like she was standing inside an invisible circle tightening around her. Fear is a word officers rarely admit to. But she admits it openly. She was scared. She was uneasy wearing her uniform. She began checking her mirrors every few seconds, driving different routes each day, sleeping lightly. She says she felt like prey, and it broke her spirit in ways she never thought possible for someone trained to face danger head-on. She claims the breaking point came when someone she trusted approached her in confidence. According to her, he said her name was being discussed in certain circles, circles that included people close to political leadership. She describes the conversation as quiet, urgent, almost like passing a secret message under a locked door. She says it confirmed what her instincts already feared. Then came the moment she describes as the most chilling. She claims she was told hitmen were looking for her, that there were people sent to finish what the stalking started. She says her body went numb. She didn't know whether to run, hide, or report it. She only knew that everything around her suddenly felt hostile, even the air she breathed. Her words, "That was the night I locked myself in my room and prayed." She began connecting dots, conversations, movements, patterns of intimidation. In her mind, the picture pointed toward Julius Malema, not because she had direct proof, but because of what she says multiple people told her privately. She says those whispers stacked up until they became a narrative she couldn't shake off. She believed Julius knew about her. She believed he was involved, and that belief consumed her daily life. Politically, the environment around her wasn't calm. Factions fought openly. Institutions clashed. Police and politics blurred lines in ways that left officers caught in storms they didn't choose. Her story landed directly inside that storm. And once her claims surfaced publicly, opinions split instantly, some calling her brave, others calling her mistaken or manipulated. Once the silence grew louder, she says she felt truly alone. According to her, whistleblowers always imagine protection until they realize nobody is truly rushing to help them. She claims she felt abandoned by colleagues who once stood proudly beside her. She felt her calls were taken less seriously. She felt the system quietly stepping away. She describes it as being alive but already forgotten. When she attempted to report the situation formally, she says she faced confusion, mixed messages, and responses that left her frustrated. She claims she was told to document everything, but wasn't given the support she expected. She left offices feeling unheard. She describes the experience as walking through a maze with no exits, carrying fears nobody wanted to touch. Her story spread to the media. Some journalists amplified her words, some questioned them. The public became divided, half believing a political machinery had indeed moved against her, the other half believing her story was being exaggerated. Her name trended. Her face circulated. And every debate, every argument, made her feel exposed in ways she never asked for. On Julius Malema's side, there was no direct engagement with her allegations. He has historically denied being involved in intimidation or violent plots in other unrelated cases, and no verified evidence has surfaced proving Thepa's belief. But the absence of dialogue, the lack of clarity, became its own tension. And in that silence, her fear didn't decrease, it grew. She says she lived two separate lives during this period. Officer by day, target by night. She continued to perform her duties. She smiled, she saluted, she stood in formation. But every shift felt like a countdown. Every drive home felt like a risk. She claims the night hours were the worst, the time she believed the danger moved closest. She remembers a phone call she claims confirmed that she was right to be scared. She won't reveal the caller's identity. She won't reveal the exact message. All she says is that the voice warned her that the shadows around her were not imagined. She describes the call as the moment her heart shut down. After that, she went silent for weeks. She no longer trusted the system she once served. She believed reporting further could worsen things. She believed that speaking to the wrong official could mark her even more. She says she realized systems are powerful when you need them, unless the threat comes from within or from those connected to power. That realization altered how she viewed institutions entirely. Eventually, she spoke publicly. She decided silence was more dangerous than exposure. She felt that telling her story was the only shield she had left. She went on record. She named names, she described the stalking, she described the alleged hitmen, she described the fear, the confusion, the isolation. She said, "If anything happens to me, at least people will know why." And now she directs her message to South Africa. She warns about corruption. She warns about political interference. She warns about the thin line between authority and abuse. She warns about a culture where officers fear speaking truth. Her voice trembles yet remains firm. She believes the country must pay attention, not to the politics, but to the humanity behind her story. Her story ends here, not with closure, not with justice, not with certainty, but with a woman who says she survived something she never expected to face. A woman who says she felt hunted. A woman who says the system didn't protect her. A woman still carrying unanswered questions. A woman refusing to disappear. Not professional advice, consult a qualified expert as needed. All claims described here reflect the personal statements of EMPD Officer Kelebogile Thepa.